Today, guys, I have something really fun. I have an Ace grading return here. I've actually sent off a whole bunch of cards to Ace that were from cracked PSA 9 slabs. So I've been grading a lot of cards with PSA. Unfortunately, a lot of them did come back in 9s. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to send these off to Ace. I'm going to crack them. I'm going to resend them to Ace. And I'm going to see if I can potentially get any 10s. Or let's see if they get 9s. That'd be an interesting thing as well. We're going to see whether or not Ace would upgrade them or keep them the same or even downgrade them, because sometimes that might even happen as well. So not all the cards in this submission are from cracked slabs. I'm going to go through ones that are when we go through them so you guys can get an idea. And of course, a lot of these that I did get that were from cracked slabs were from previous submissions, which you can find on the channel that I sent off to PSA. Some of the other slabs I did pick up were from card shows, so a lot of people would trade in their PSA 9s. I do take quite a lot of PSA 9s from people. Usually they tend to be pretty cheap when you get PSA 9s. You know, I would say not quite close to raw, depending on what the card is, but you can usually get it for a pretty good price. And especially if you look at it and you think the centering is the reason why I got a PSA 9. Don't forget, in PSA, they're very strict on the centering. Whereas Ace, they're a little bit more lenient on the centering, but they're more strict on surface. That's the downside of Ace. So you've got to be a little bit careful. All of these were cleaned as well. So when they were cracked, they were cleaned with a nice soft cloth and stuff like that to make sure that there is any like crazy dust or anything like that on these cards. Because that's one thing that Ace can downgrade you on is dust on the card. I know, it's wild, it's weird, but that's basically what happens. So today we do have 15 cards, labs that we're going to go through. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I haven't seen any of these. This is basically turn up today. I'm going to be looking through it all, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if we can get any 10s. Like I say, all of these were either 9s or would potentially get 9s with PSA, so I'm going to try and see if they can get 10s with Ace. So let's get into it. So I'm going to be doing this again in the future as well. I've got another bunch of PSA 9 slabs that I've cracked, and I've got a video showing you guys what those PSA 9s are, because some of those are actually that I've got to crack. They're from really, really old submissions I did on the channel, like a long time ago. So we're going to see what happens with them. So yeah, I mean, I like grading with Ace. I know the value isn't necessarily there with Ace compared to PSA, right? So PSA prices, especially when you look at some of the top end cards, do fetch a much, much higher price tag. Now, obviously, I'm selling a lot of these on at card shows and trading them and so on and so forth. So ideally, I want the most amount of value. But if I could upgrade a 9 PSA to an Ace 10, that adds a lot of value to it. Not only that, a Ace 9, in a lot of cases, is actually worth more than a PSA 9. And the reason being is because of the label that comes with the card. Just because it looks so much cooler, a lot more people interested in it. Therefore, a 9 tends to hold a higher value than a PSA 9 Ace, right? Okay, so that's basically the gist. All right, that is basically the gist. We're gonna pick some of these out at random, and we're gonna see which ones are. We're gonna try and hide the grade, and I don't want to show the QR code because you can just scan it and know it ahead of time. So the first one we have here. We have the Glaceon. This one is the Master Ball reverse, as you can see there. We've got the Master Ball from Prismatic. I've got the Umbreon as well, but I had the Glaceon. I really like Glaceon. I think it's cool. I think the Ace label looks super sweet with the ice. I was intrigued to see how they would do an Ace label, you know, for the Master Ball. So I was always a bit curious because they're kind of basic. I usually send off like full art style Pokemon. But yeah, this one's pretty cool. This one was not from a slab. Okay, so this one was one that I think I just pulled in a pack of Prismatic, and I was like, you know what? I'll just send it off to get graded. And the centering on it doesn't look that great. I feel like the centering is probably not the best. So let's see what this one got. Okay, this one got a mint 9. So this one, originally I think I had this one like trying to sell this one raw. I think I had a couple of card shows, and it's got a nick in the corner there. Be interesting to see what this one got. But you can scan the QR code and it will tell you what it did get. But yeah, not too bad. 9. I do like that. Like I say, I'm probably going to expect if their grading is accurate, I would probably expect a lot of 9s potentially. But you never know. There could be 10s, especially if it comes, like I say, to the centering. Okay, that's outside. All right, so this one was a PSA 9. So this one came in as a PSA 9. This is the Classic Collection Zardy Boy. As you can see, look, it is massively off-centered. It's bottom heavy down here. It's a lot thicker from left to right. So I'm looking at this going, yep, I can see why this has got a PSA 9. We look at the back as well, and you can see, look, the back is very right heavy. Again, very bottom heavy. For this one, I'm like, yep. I looked at like the corners and the edges. So this one is a 9. And yeah, I was like, you know what? I feel like it's in the margins of Ace centering. Yeah, so I expect it might be another 9, but it could be a 10. So let's see what we can get. A 6? A 6? I need to check to see how the hell this got a 6. This was a PSA 9, guys. This was a PSA 9. A 6? I'm gonna quickly scan this QR code and I'm gonna see what this is. I've just scanned the QR code. Apparently, it got a 5 on surface. Where? A 5 on surface? There has to be, like, how could there be a 5 on surface if it was a PSA 9? There has to be, for them to say there's a, I'm going to take out the I'm going to take out the sleeve. There has to be, like, a scratch, a dent, a crease. Do you know what I mean? There would have to be something in here, to warrant it being a 5? 5 surface from a PSA 9? That's mad. And it's not even like I can just, like, crack it and resend it to PSA. Because obviously it was a 9. I have no clue. It's on the front. This is really throwing a spanner in the works. I mean, I kind of expected to get a 9, potentially get a 10, if because of the centering. That's weird. That is so weird for a 6 from a PSA 9. This is one of these situations where you're like, I kind of wish I never cracked it in the first place. All right, well, we've got a 6 for that Charizard. That's absolutely weird as hell. All right, what we got up next? All right, we got the legendary Birdos. I've graded so many of these. A lot of them got PSA 10s. I did send off a bunch in an old submission. 2 came back in a PSA 9. I was like, you know what? I'll send them off to Ace and see. Plus, I never had one in an Ace 10, and I love this label. I felt like the centering was the reason why I potentially got PSA 9. The centering, it does look a little bit bottom heavy for the margins, and a little bit left heavy as well. Let's check the back. I mean, it looked kind of clean elsewhere. I genuinely thought it was just the centering was the reason why. Right, am I going to get cooked on this one? 10. Wow, okay. So we definitely got a nice price increase there. I mean, this one raw was about 80-ish. And then this in an Ace 10 is about 185. I've gained about £100 value from this upgrading from a 9 to a 10, which is pretty good. And that makes up for that Charizard. That was tragic. But yeah, very nice. Love this one. I did send off 2, so it'll be interesting to see what the next one will get, of course. So next up we have... Okay, so this one came again... This one didn't come from a slab. This one was one I picked up in a trade at a card show. I just liked it. I love Sylveon. And I saw online what the Ace label looked like, and I was like, that just looks really nice. So it wasn't going to get a 10. I'm throwing out there now. This is hard to grade in a 10. Anything from Generations is super tough to get in a 10. But I really wanted it graded, and I really wanted it in an Ace slab. And I had it, like, I was going to sell it raw, and I was like, nah, I want to grade it. I want to put it in a slab. And, like, there's nicks in the corners. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets, like, potentially, like, I don't know, a 7 or an 8 or something. Be shocked if it got a 9. Okay, an 8. That's fine. We got a near mint 8. Like I say, I do like that. It looks really cool. I just love the look of it. I just like the Sylveon with the Eevee there as well. Super adorable. But pretty much all of these that I have here, I will be selling either online on my website, on my eBay, or I'll be selling them at card shows. So keep an eye out as well. All the links will be in the description if you want to go and check it out. All right, up next, what have we got? Okay, we got Trainer Gallery Gengar Boy. This one wasn't cracked. This one was just a raw one, again, that I picked up in a trade, a recent card show. I actually had my first card show that I vended at. And this is shot up in price. Like, when I bought this, it was nowhere near the raw price of what it is now. It was a lot cheaper. I mean, I think I picked this up for like 15, 16 pounds, and now it's like 40 plus raw. So I like the artwork. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I've pulled this card so many times in Lost Origin. I've lost track throughout the years, just pulled it so many times. I kind of feel like it was pretty good. Potential 10, but you never know with Ace and their surfaces. So let's see what this one gets. All right, a 9. I'll take a 9. Again, looks pretty cool. You know, from what I paid for it and for what it is now, even in a 9, That's probably not too bad, and it looks really cool. And it's a card that people like, and it's a slab that looks super duper cool. So I'm happy with that one. Like I say, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be fantastic all day, every day. Okay, what we got next? Okay, we got the Mew. This one is from the UPC. This one was from a cracked PSA 9 slab. I did get one in a PSA 10, which I was super happy with. This is sharp in price massively, and I wanted it in an ace and in the ace label, and tried to see if I can get a 10. Now, when I looked at this one, I tried to figure out why I got a PSA 9. I genuinely thought it would get a 10 because the centering on it is absolutely banging. Like, it's spot on centering. And I couldn't see anything in the corners. Potentially a little bit of white in there if you want to be like super fussy. But I mean, I couldn't see anything. There's a nick there in a corner. So that might be why I got a 9. But you never know. Okay, well, we got a 9. So pretty straightforward. And it's kind of weird. This in an ace 9 is worth more than the PSA 9. Again, it's those labels. When you get 9s, they're worth it. But the thing is with PSA, it's in a way, it's better to try and grade a PSA if you think the card will get a 10. Because if you'll get a 10, you're laughing, right? Because this in an ace is like £200 cheaper than one in a PSA 10. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I'm happy to get them in ace 9s, but I prefer to get them in a PSA 10. You know what I mean? We got Zardy Boy. Now this one, I actually sent off 3 copies of these. And again, it's this for these. I looked at the centering and I was like, oof, this is probably why I got PSA 9. Look at the centering on this one. Look how thick that right side is compared to that left side. That is 100% centering right there. So I was like, you know what? It's probably going to be centering. Even the back off-centered. Well, not off-centered, but look at how thick back border as well. So I'm like, you know what? The corners look pretty good on this Zardy Boy. It is in the margins of ace. Ace to 60-40 rather than 45-55. So let's see what we get. Okay, we got a 9. Bit of a bummer. Again, this is not one of the cards where in a 9 actually is pretty much the same price as a PSA 9, which isn't too bad. But I thought it would get a 10. I know the centering looks pretty bad, but it'd be interesting to see if we can scan the QR code. It'd be interesting to see why I got a 9. Maybe it got an ace 9 on the centering, but it sounds weird, but it is in the margins. You know, you just don't know. Okay, let me see what we got up next. Okay, we got an Altaria. This one I picked up in a trade. Again, a while ago when this card, I mean, it's not that expensive now, but it's relatively cheap. I just really like the artwork. It reminds me of the Aerodactyl from Lost Origin. And I like the ace label to go with it. I think it looks pretty sweet. I think it looks really, really nice. The centering on this one is pretty good. I was going to potentially send this off the PSA because the centering is so good. But I just decided to grade with ace. Corners, I think there was one nick. Yeah, there's one nick in the corner there on the left, but that was it. And sometimes you can have a little nick in the corner and it's fine, right? Because if it gets 9 on corners and 10 everywhere else, it'll be a 10. Right? But if you get a 9 on centering, it's a 9 even if you get 10 everywhere else. So keep that in mind. Okay, we got a 9. It'd be interesting to see what lots of subgrades got 9. I bet it's surface. Ace has a habit of just downgrading surface for the sake of downgrading surfaces. I mean, I've literally watched somebody get a really low grade on surface with ace. They cracked it, they sent it to PSA, and they got PSA 10. They had, I think it was like an ace 7 because of the surface. They cracked it, cleaned it up, and sent it to PSA, and it got a 10. So interesting to see what this one will fetch for on a 9, but this is what it is. Okay, so then we have the Sylveon V. Now, fun fact, I picked this one up for £30 raw, I don't know, about 2 years ago, something like that. Picked it up a long time ago. And Sylveon's my favorite evolution, and I wanted to get it in an ace slab. I knew it wouldn't get a 10 with PSA because of the centering. I mean, the centering's pretty bad. And I was like, you know what? I think it has a shot of maybe getting an ace 10 or even an ace 9. I'll be really happy with this. Obviously, that's on the sleeve. And to me, the corners, you got a nick, a little whitening in that corner there. Maybe a bit there, a push. So I was thinking a 9, right? I'm eyeing up a 9. That one's not great. Be interesting to see what got it an 8. Definitely the corners would probably be a 9 on corners. In the margins for centering. So it's probably, again, we got an 8. That means it must have had an 8 somewhere else. Maybe it is 8 on corners. Maybe 8 on surface. Maybe got like, I don't know. Weird. Okay, be interesting to see what that one is. Okay, what we got up next? So like I say, we've got a few cards left. So it's interesting to see. We had one. Oh, okay, we got another one. I'll say we already had one of these upgraded to a 10. We did actually get one that got upgraded to a 10, so that's interesting, to say the least. So we got the Moltres coming in. We did get a 10 last time. I kind of felt like it was centering. I think it got a 9 from PSA from centering again. That bottom centering, pretty rough. Let's take a look at the back. I mean, the last one did get a 10, and it looked pretty clean. This one looks clean as well, so I don't know how I got a 9. Probably the centering. Let's see what it got. Boom. So we did get another one in a 10. Absolutely fantastic. I love these legendary birds. They're so cool. Price difference though is massive. So like this in a PSA 10 is like 250. This is like 180. It was a PSA 9. At PSA 9 it's like 80, right? So it was an upgrade. It was definitely worth it. And I would say that so far, I think this was probably worth sending off, especially the ones that I cracked and resent in, because like I said, a lot of the values from 9 to like the values from 9 to like PSA 9 to Ace 9 is not much different. It's not too bad. And the grading cost for these was pretty cheap, like £15 a card, so it wasn't too bad. So yeah, we look here. Again, I sent off another one. It did get a 9. I sent off 3 in total. Centering, I felt like the centering's pretty good on this, but it did get a PSA 9, so it's probably the corners maybe. Little tiny nick there in a corner on there. So it's probably got 9 on corners. See? Let's see. I got another 9. Bit of a bummer. These are... I could never get a 10 in any of these. In any of these Zards, not just the V-Stars, but any from the UPCs. I've graded 15 of these, 15 sets of each, and I've not got a single 10 in Ace or in PSA. It's not meant to be, guys. Just not meant to be. All right, Blasty Boy. So this one was in a PSA 9. Picked this up super cheap in a PSA 9, like insanely cheap. This is a really cheap card in general. I actually had one of these in an Ace 10 when the set dropped. When it first came out, I had these in an Ace 10 in their old Ace slabs. It was brick. Bigger than they are now. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. This one did get a PSA 9. I took it in a trade. Like I say, super cheap. It is not expensive in a PSA 9 at all. Whereas in an Ace 9, even if this does get an Ace 9, it's like nearly 2 times the value than a PSA 9. I guess it's because of the label. You know what I mean? The label really does make a difference. So it looks pretty good, and that's why I kind of cracked it and see what we get. Okay, we got a 9. I got a 10 last time when I first graded this. First time around I graded this. And this one did get a 9. It'd be interesting to see what gave it the 9, because the corners look pretty good. But like I say, the Ace 9 is worth way more than a PSA 9. So I'm kind of happy. I'm happy with that one. All right, we've only got a few left. What we got? Okay, we got the Greninja. This is the Gold Star promo. This one wasn't cracked. This one was actually from a collection that I picked up from my friend. He had a bunch of celebration cards, and I picked this one up along with it. And I was like, you know what? Let's send in and get it graded. This in a PSA 10 fetches like 700, which is mad. And I looked at this and I was like, I don't think this is good enough to even try and get a PSA 10. Because of the centering, I felt like the centering wasn't too great. Look at this. I don't know if that's edgeware or if that's like the shine of the plastic of the inside. Yeah, I would say this was probably more than likely going to get a PSA 9 because I felt like the centering was a bit bad, but we'll see. An 8. Interesting. Surface, I bet. Probably, like I said, all of these I cleaned. I pre-cleaned, made sure that the surface was in tip-top shape. I want to know what happened this one. Bit of a bummer. That would have been nice. Even in a 9, that would have been nice. Okay, we got what, 2 left. Okay. Beedrill. So this one is I got in a PSA 9. Again, picked up in a trade at a card show. I really like the Beedrill artwork. I always think Beedrill looks absolutely awesome. From Astral Radiance, and look at that. The label to go with it just looks so cool. This one looked pretty clean. Like when I saw this one, I was like, you know what? It's probably going to be the centering because it's a bit top heavy. That's why it probably got a PSA 9. But I was like, you know what? I think it's the centering because the back looked clean as well, which is pretty good. I mean, potentially a tiny bit of whitening in the corner there. So I felt like this one had a potential, and I think it was the centering that got it a PSA 9. But let's see, probably a 9 again, maybe 10. All right, so this one did upgrade. So we managed to get 3 cross over to an Ace 10. This is a beauty. This is a really nice slab. Like I say, all of these will be available on the eBay store and at card shows. I'm going to a card show are on the 16th of November in Birmingham. So if you're going to be there, these will be there unless they've already sold before then. But yeah, really, really nice. Super cool. All right, we got one left, I think. I think this is probably going to be the last Charizard VSTAR, I believe. Yeah, okay. So we only managed to get 2 of each. Again, centering is the reason why this got a 9. Look at the centering on that. That is, again, not great at all. Let's check. Check the back. You got a little whitening in the corner there. Pretty much it, I think. Maybe a little bit there. So you got a little bit of specs. So probably a 9 on corners. Okay, so all 3 got 9. I still can't get one of these in a 10 to save my life. At this rate, I might as well just buy one. The thing is, the V-Star is actually not my favorite. It's just the highest value one, right? My favorite is the VMAX, the one that looks like Godzilla, who's like shooting fire up into the air. That one looks really cool, but nonetheless, not too bad. So overall, not bad. Did manage to get 3 of the slabs that were cracked. I mean, I'm trying to think how many slabs I had cracked. So I cracked 1, 2, 3. How many did I do? 3, 4, 5. Probably less than 10, right? 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. There was 9 that I cracked, and yeah, so 9 I cracked, 3 got a 10. That's not too bad. Like I say, a lot of the 9s do hold much higher value than in a PSA 9, which is pretty good. That's one of the reasons why it didn't matter too much if they did get a 9. But the uptick in value that I gained from going from a PSA 9 to a 10, it was pretty good. I gained roughly around about £260 extra in value just from those 3 cards, those 3 10s, which is pretty good. The rest of them could have been better, right? Definitely could have been better. Some questionable ones. That Charizard in the 6 is weird as hell. So I don't know. That one's probably going to get cracked, to be fair, and just so I can see what the hell's going on. But I can't really send it off to like PSA because it got a 9 from PSA in the first place type thing. So it kind of is what it is, but very, very bizarre. But like I say, I'm going to do this in the future. I do have other PSA 9s from an old collection that I have. I'm going to crack and send off to Ace and try and see if I can get it. One of the things I've been doing recently is a lot of them I've been buying a lot of kind of like cheap PSA 9 slabs because people just want to get rid of their PSA 9s. And normally at card shows, you can pick them up pretty cheap. People are willing to just offload them as quick as possible. And if it looks like it was centering was the reason, and that was what happened with, some of these, then it's like, hey, it's worth a shot. Just paying the extra £15, getting it graded from Ace, and try and see if you can get that 10, because even in that 9, that probably covers the cost of that grading cost, because an Ace 9 usually is worth more than a PSA 9. It's very, very interesting to see. But yeah, really cool. If you made it this far in the video and you've enjoyed it, of course, make sure to smash that like button. And let me know your thoughts. Do you think it was harsh? What do you think was up with that Charizard? But yeah, very, very weird on that one. But I enjoyed doing it, and these are really cool. Like I say, they will be available online if you do want to pick these up, of course. And I've got some more submissions. I've got another Ace grading one coming back probably in about a month's time. And then I've got a PSA submission hopefully back before Christmas. I'm also going to give you guys an idea of what I'm going to be taking with me inventory wise to my upcoming card shows, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well. But that's it from me, guys, in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are legends, and I'll see you in the next one.